First of all, it's really exciting to be able to sit here across from you talking to an actress, in addition to a musician, but talk about just kind of making that transition, not necessarily leaving behind the music, but like what
Yeah.
was the most, exciting part to you for stepping into this role as an actress?
Stepping into my role as an actress is fun for me because I'm a student again.
Yes.
I love to just be a sponge and feel like I'm learning and growing, and acting provides me that opportunity.
What a great way to learn with just a fun cast.
Yeah.
Was there anybody in particular who you just were able to learn more from, more so than the other?
This cast was absolutely a great cast to learn from. I have Danny Glover to my left. I've got Gabrielle Union in front of me.
Yeah.
I've got Kimberly Elise to my right. Monique down the table, Nicole Ari Parker, Ramani Malco. Like, this was an incredible cast to like really watch and learn from.
Yeah.
I guess I spent a lot of my scenes with Gabrielle Union. I think I probably was able to watch her the most, just from the amount of time that I got to interact with her
Yeah.
on film. So she's brilliant,
Yeah.
really, really brilliant.
You mentioned Gabrielle, but there's something about that brilliance that you see in people and artists and successful people. How would you describe just that kind of that it factor when you look at people across from you? Like, what is it?
Whew. It's that it factor. I think is it's just a fire. It's the intangible thing about someone that it permeates from within, and it's just an energy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's so intangible. I really can't even put my finger on it,
Yeah.
figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
It's an essence.
Definitely. I mean, it's something that, many people say that celebrities or just talented people in general have. And it's something that I feel like you maybe recognize at an early age, or you might believe
Yeah.
in yourself at an early age. So
Yeah.
what was a tipping point for you when you kind of just was like, you know what, I've got it, and there's something that I want to pursue?
Oh, I remember many moments that kind of confirmed for me. One would be at every family gathering. I was asked to sing. And I just remember being as young as 3 years old, and looking above me, and everyone was interested in hearing this little girl sing. And I'm just like, but I'm the smallest in the room. Why does everyone care about me?
Yeah.
But it's only when I'm singing. And then another time on the school bus, we sing in the back of the school bus, and there were some good voices, but they all wanted like lessons from me.
Wow. Yeah.
And I remember thinking, am I really that much better than you? Like, there were moments. And of course, talent shows. In Atlanta, when I grew up, there were a whole lot of talent shows. And I entered everyone I heard about. And I had success at quite a few of them. So, from young, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew what made me happiest.
Yeah.
I knew that I was good at it.
You mentioned just what seems like a really strong support team, people who believed in you at an early age. And, I always ask people when it comes to success, like what's the most important factor? And a lot of people talk about team and the people that are around them. So for you, when it comes to just kind of like positioning people and having relationships, like
Yeah.
how essential are your relationships to your success?
Relationships are very, very important. But I have to say, the most important factor in it all, because the team changes, it's your belief in yourself that cannot waver. Other people around your team, that's a strong, it's good when you have strong people around, but
Right.
like I said, those things change through time, but you can't change your belief in yourself, because the pitfalls, the arguments, the disagreements, they are sure to come.
Yeah.
But you can't let that, deter you or
No.
break your spirit.
For sure, in having a life it's in the public, you have all this scrutiny that people are basically wanting to talk about your life. And do you obviously you probably don't tune into most of it, but do you use some of that to kind of pull from and maybe create a new creative, energy from, or no?
No. I get nothing from criticism. I definitely don't pull from it creatively. I will say, growing up as an athlete, you develop a way to embrace criticism and turn it into a better performance.
Yeah.
and I'm glad that I grew up with pretty tough skin, but none of it prepares you for the amount of criticism and the type of criticism, because it's not all constructive.
Yeah.
So coming from a place where it's structured and there's constructive criticism to destructive criticism, that can be really, really difficult to deal with, even for someone with as thick a skin as I have and as, as self-assured as I am.
For sure.
Yeah.
How do you just take that space or a place where you go, or where do you go to kind of just tune out from all the noise? Not necessarily on social media, but just everybody's got an opinion about your life or where you should go. Like, where do you go to just escape?
Well, because we take our phones with us everywhere, even when we are like on vacation and whatnot, my safe haven actually is cutting off all social media. I occasionally will take a break and delete all the apps from my phone so that I'm not internalizing any of the subconscious chatter that those opinions can create. So for me, that's really my place of peace when I'm really disconnected, truly disconnected from those unwarranted opinions.
There's no guilt there.
I feel no guilt. I want to be there for my fans, but I also don't want to, there's a lot of things you don't want to have to, you tend to internalize these ideas about yourself. Like I said, subconsciously. And that's dangerous. That's really dangerous. So I don't read comments hardly ever anymore. I don't scroll too deep. If I'm looking for love to return on my timeline, like Twitter, I don't go too deep into the crates.
Right.
When it starts to get negative, I just clock out. But yeah, it's important to protect your sanity, protect the ideas that you allow into your brain.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned taking a break, and so many people fell in love with Keri Hilson and just your music and the whole idea of your brand, and there are a lot of fans who are like, well, where's Keri? We want more Keri, So I mean, how does that feel to just know that you're loved, and how do you balance like giving them, okay, fine, I'm going to give you more of me, and then actually protecting the art of that you initially fell in love with?
Yeah. It's a balancing act, I think, between being so open and so giving as I once was, and now just finding that place to protect. But I will say it's a really cool feeling to know that people are anticipating hearing more of me. My popularity hasn't really waned, even though I haven't released anything in 5 years. So I'm really grateful that people still care. I don't know, blogs still write about me. Photographers still show up at the airport. Paparazzi still care. Blogs are still posted. I don't get it, but I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that my place is still being held.
Yeah, I mean, I think people genuinely care about you and, just your well-being.
That's cool. That's cool.
So, when it comes to just like putting your personal life out there, like how do you deal with, knowing what to put out versus what not to put out? And was there ever a point where maybe you were like scarred publicly and you were like, you know what, that wasn't a good route. In the future, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I think with relationships, I don't really enjoy the fact that I'm here to talk about music. I'm here to do music. I'm not really here to answer questions about what happens behind closed doors. You know what I mean? But that's become such a huge part of our interviews and society, what they want to know about you beyond the music, beyond everything. And it feels really invasive. But it's like that's just part of the game. I do hate it. I will make different decisions in future relationships. I think when you put things on Front Street, it really does open the door for opinions. It opens the door to the wolves to attack it. And I certainly have been in that position where things have been written about me as it pertains to relationships that is so far from the truth. And that's to me, that's a personal attack. You could talk about my music all day. You know what I mean? You could talk. You could talk about whatever, but when it comes to like you making up things, a character attack. I don't take those too well. I don't take those. I don't handle those too well, and no one would. If someone had something to talk about your work, you would be able to, okay, well, all right, maybe I could do this differently. But a personal attack, and they know nothing. That really, really. It just bothers me, and it makes me want to just be completely mysterious. And you can't. I think you can't really stop it, though. I think it's just the climate that we are.
It is. I mean,
we are in. You know, even
with
when
the
they
whole-
don't know anything, they'll just make something up.
Yeah, I mean that's people with blogs, and you got reality TV, and
Yeah.
I mean, and there's this whole craze and idea that people are just enthralled with other people's drama.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe that has a lot to do with it. But I
Yeah.
mean, when it comes, not to touch on your past relationship,
Uh-huh.
but reality TV and basketball wives have been given like a certain stigma, and everybody looks at basketball wives as kind of maybe so being money hungry or gold diggers or whatever. You dated an athlete. What were your thoughts just when it comes to the stigma of that? And what's the whole excitement to dating an athlete as a woman, or is there one?
Yeah, I wasn't excited. That I thought I found a what's the word? An exception. I'm an exception to the rule that people think of R&B divas.
Right.
I'm an exception. So I thought that I found someone who's also an exception. But it wasn't enthralling for me to date an athlete. It was actually on my list of not to dos.
Wow.
No rappers, no actors, no ball players.
But you broke your own rule.
I broke my rule because I thought that I had found someone different, and in some ways I did, but other ways not so different.
Not so much, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when
But I wasn't, it wasn't anything I was attracted to, like the status and the money. I do very well for myself, and I have my own status.
So now, in retrospect, when it comes to just looking, I don't want to say looking for love, because I don't think people should look for love.
Yeah.
But what are you open to when it comes to the types of qualities that basically turn you on?
I'm no different. I'm no different than any other woman. The things I look for in a man are probably no different than the average woman. I'm pretty level-headed. My feet are on the ground. Really humble. Just want someone that loves God genuinely, and respects women, loyal. It's just all the same things every woman wants.
In this film, Almost Christmas, it was really special because we got to see this patriarch, Danny Glover, who just had a true love and for a woman who was no longer there. We don't see that a lot on screen.
We don't.
So when it comes to just kind of illustrating that, whether it's in music or on film, why is it important to you that we show and describe and define this love that's often absent?
I think it's really awesome to show a man being the glue to a family, a black man especially. What we deal with in the black community, where half of us don't even know our fathers,
Right.
and the other half, the father, it's like a one-parent home, single-parent home situation. And I think it's really cool to see that they were still together, he lost her, he becomes the glue, because that's just something we just don't see, and I would love to see more of in our community.
As a writer, of your lyrics, do you ever draw from real places when it comes to, there's a lack of love in our society, so do you kind of spot that out and be like, you know what, this one is going to be more so targeted towards?
No, but you know what? I always look at films, and I always look at our entertainment, like the reality shows and even the music. And I always say, I wish we saw more love.
Yeah.
I wish we saw more love working. And we weren't so, so excited by the drama of love not working. And so but I never looked at myself in the equation, and I absolutely have a responsibility to do that. I'm also a writer. I am part of I can't say I'm part of the problem, but I could be part of the solution in bringing back love. If whoever I'm writing for would be willing to sing that, because I write for guys and they just want to talk about sex and drugs and partying,
Yeah.
But I do miss love. I miss crooning. I miss when a man wasn't afraid to cry on the record. Say I love you.
Absolutely.
We don't even hear that anymore.
No, we don't. You have the power to change that, though, as a writer. And is there anybody who you would want to work with? We've got a lot of people out there, a lot of new R&B artists, who you maybe want to embrace your lyrics and present them to the world.
There's not a whole lot that inspires me, but I listen to it all. Okay.
Or you like ask who's in your like iPad or your iPhone right now?
Who's I jam to Ty Dolla $ign quite a bit. I like him. I like Usher. Usher's new album is
It's fire.
incredible, and he's the closest we have to like still singing about love.
Yeah.
He's might be the only one, the last one of the he and Tyrese, I guess. But I really love Usher's album. Great album.
Yeah.
BJ the Chicago Kid, another great album. Those are probably the top 3. Yeah. And whenever Bruno Mars releases, like, it's gonna be another.
Yeah, everything he releases kind of just goes to gold. It's just it's really good.
He's so talented.
What do you think about this new age artist? Because in a lot of ways, they're able to be more exposed within social media or whatever. But Bruno Mars is somebody who I feel like is just always on board. He's always about the business. I mean, what is it about that formula when it comes to just being a music artist? Do you feel like why is that important to his success and yours?
I think for Bruno, mystery drives his train, and that's kind of the type of artist I would love to be. I don't mind posting selfies and things, but there's a limit to my openness. Just because I think we're missing that. I think everyone is overexposed, and I do mean almost everyone is just, we know way too much.
Yeah.
And it takes away from your gift. It takes away from what's special when you say what you say on the microphone, because you could really just F it up in person or on your Instagram or on your Snapchat.
Yeah.
You could totally contradict yourself. And or you create an idea, a persona for yourself on record, and you show us that you're not really that person.
Yeah.
So I think it's best that I think our voices are more powerful in our gift,
Yeah. I just want to, kind of switching gears a little bit here.
Okay.
You've kind of grown so much since we've last seen you, or since you first came on the scene. So like,
I was a youngin'.
It was. I mean,
I still am.
You are, and it's exciting to see just the whole process of growing and becoming who you are. What do you feel like is your lasting legacy, or if you could just go in one direction and just like be that?
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like I haven't even tapped on anything to tell you yet, because I know that I have not reached the pinnacle of what I'm capable of doing. So I have yet to write my legacy, and I work on it every day.
What is the most fulfilling aspect, I guess, from using the platform that you have every day? You're able to, whether it's touch people or little girls or whatever. What is the most fulfilling part about just being who you are?
The most fulfilling part about being who I am is just to be able to bless people. Sometimes that's just a picture. Sometimes it's as simple as a smile back, or the first to smile, and they're like, Keri Hilson just smiled at me.
Yeah.
Giving, I love to give. I love doing things for my family. I'm able to bless my mom and my father and my sisters and brothers and, my cousins and my aunts. Like, I'm able to do things for people, and those that truly are in need. Like, I'm able to lend my time, lend my voice, lend my person, and shed all the heels, handbags, makeup, all the glamorous things that they think my life is really about, and talk to them one-on-one and shed all that and just relate to them as people. I love and I live for that opportunity. I do it all the time. I don't photograph at all. I don't bring cameras with me when I'm doing those kinds of things. Sometimes it just feels inappropriate. But I absolutely take every opportunity that comes my way, and I make other opportunities to visit homes that of children that are in need, or hospitals, or juvenile centers.
That's really special.
YMCA programs,
And a lot of that is what the movie dealt with when it comes to just being there for the community.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
but you
If
touched
you can't
on
help them, at least don't hurt them.
At least don't hurt them. It's the least you could do is not hurt somebody. You touched on something though that I feel like is not really something that a lot of people.
Orphanages. I'm sorry. I go to Africa a lot, so with most of my trips, I try to incorporate going to visit motherless and fatherless children, like orphans.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, and I tear up I tear up. It's really, really, that's a different level of poverty that you see.
It is.
I've been to maybe 9 or 10 countries of Africa, and
it's not something that you
changes
promote. It's something that you do just because you want to.
It's something you do because it's your responsibility as a Christian. It's your responsibility just as a person that has much to give. You're supposed to share who you are, to inspire others.
Yeah.
You know, we're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But not only is it a responsibility, it's also gratifying to
Yeah.
know that the feeling of giving, the feeling of sharing
Of
is
course.
really, it's so gratifying as well.
You know, you mentioned being a Christian,
Yes.
and being a Christian in Hollywood, I'm sure there's just, you know, it's like, whew, there's a lot that pressures I'm sure you have to deal with, and, you know, a lot of no's. But there's a big temptation, I feel like, for people who want to be philanthropists to give to a group of people and then go tell everybody that I gave, you know. And you mentioned
Yeah.
something that, you know, you never took pictures, but
Yeah.
something that the Bible talks about is actually giving in secret. And not telling anybody, because if you give and tell the whole world, like, that's your reward, however they acknowledge you. So what are your thoughts about just giving in secret, and if you have words of advice for maybe people who may not be aware of the humility there? And
I don't know. I don't judge anyone that feels the need to, because I mean, there have been times where cameras were around. It wasn't
Right.
on purpose. It wasn't by design, but they
Right.
are following my entire trip, and that's just part of my trip. But I don't judge anyone that
Well,
feels the need to share that they gave.
Yeah.
You know, there have been times when I would tweet and people would miss the point entirely. My point would be something else, but I would talk about my experience with a homeless person
Yeah.
and how I gave, and it would be to inspire them to do the same, but they
Right.
would totally miss the point and
If
be
you
like,
could
why
try
are
to
you
toot your
bragging
own
that
horn,
you
right.
gave to a home this much money to a homeless, you know? But I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds, thousands of times where I do it and I say nothing. But if I feel the need to express and try to inspire you to do the same because you can,
Yeah.
then I'm not going to judge the person that is showing the world. Everyone has their own way. That's also a way of giving,
Yeah,
I think.
for sure.
So I don't shun them for sharing when they do. It is good, especially for us as a
Yeah.
people, to see us giving back, because we can absolutely do more of that, and our community needs it, truth be told.
It does. Using your platform, because obviously you're very passionate about, you know, just the opportunities for people like yourself and young women. How do you feel like it's important for you, or what ways would you like to be able to project just that positive image for women out there to see?
Is that the 5-minute one?
That was a 5-minute.
Okay.
I'm not going to take that much, though.
Okay. I mean, it's okay. It's
All right,
going well.
for sure.
I'm awake. One more time?
Yeah, so you have, you know, responsibility in a lot of ways as a woman who's in the public light and figure to show and represent
Oh.
yourself as just a positive female.
Yeah.
So how important is that for you, just to show that for young girls out there?
It's more important than it's not. I don't feel the entire 100% of responsibility for, like, you know, being an example at all times, because
Yeah.
I also want to just live my own life.
Yeah.
And if there's a camera, if it's my own Snapchat, I'm going to give you some real.
Right.
And I'm not always this angel. I'm a Christian, but I am also, I'm a cursing Christian.
Right.
You know, I don't feel alone. My belief is, as long as you're not cursing someone, it's the intent behind your words. I don't curse people,
Yeah.
you know, but I curse for effect in
Right.
conversation.
Yeah, of course.
But anyway, I think it's pretty important, but it's equally as important for mothers and fathers to raise their children. But I do happen to think I am more of a good example than a bad example. You know what I mean? I do
Yeah.
think that these little girls can look up to me and say, well, wow, she's educated. She went to Emory University. She went to college. You know, she is eloquent. She's articulate. She, you know, enjoys reading books. You know, she loves giving back. She, you know, I think that I'm more of a good example than a bad example, but I have real moments over here that,
Yeah.
you know, may not be so squeaky clean.
Right.
But I just live my life, you know.
I think you live it very well, and we look forward to a
Thank
lot
you.
more work from you. And thank you again. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much.